Peace and Black Power family. Harlem educator, author, and activist, the Black Liberation Coach, Brother IJ Taimba. We are filming live in Connecticut today, family, not Harlem. Visiting the family, getting a little bit of mini vacation on. And we have a very special and important broadcast. Of course, I'm biased. I think all of them are special and important. This one has an urgency to it because we're talking about a very important conference coming up Saturday, I believe, June 4th, 2022. And it is very important, family, that we really get beyond the complaining about every single thing in the community phase, and that we start to identify the people, the organizations, the initiatives that address the very things we complain about and get on board, support them monetarily, support them with your labor, your ideas, or what have you. I'm very honored to have with us today a couple, a powerful Black couple family, and they do phenomenal work, and they've been doing phenomenal work for years, for decades. It's safe to say, as I said when Mama Baruti was on our show just a week ago, that they are an institution in the community. They're planted firmly in Atlanta, Georgia. Although they may come from different places, they planted there, and they've planted seeds, and they've grown a harvest of students, and of working with other community organizers. I know activists, revolutionaries, people fighting for Black African sovereignty all over the country that bear witness to the Barutis. As soon as you said, "Oh yeah, I know," "Hey, Mama Yaa," "Oh yeah, Mwalimu Baruti," and that's a beautiful thing. And they're known for good things, because we have a lot of people in our community who are quite infamous and nefarious, and they're known for bad things, right? So we want to just, without further ado, I want to give the greetings to the Barutis, Mama Yaa, and Brother Mwalimu Baruti. Thank you for coming with us on our show today.
Greetings, Bob.
Greetings, Bob.
We appreciate the invitation.
Appreciate it, and it's always an honor to be with you.
Absolutely.
Always.
Absolutely, and the honor is mutual. As we were saying before, I respect the work. I've learned there's people that get caught up on who they like and who they don't like, and who's this and who's that. I don't even care. If the people are doing the work qualifies, it answers everything. It says where you stand, you know, what you're about, who you support, what you're against. I just think it's the best measuring rod. And by my humble measurement, you both are putting in very important nation building work as relates to schools. To create a school is, to me, one of the most important nation building things we can do. It's so foundational, you know. Now speaking of that, we're pivoting a little bit because you have a very important event, and I really am hoping that people can learn about this Complementarity Conference. Can somebody help us understand, first of all, what do we mean by complementarity, and what is the conference about?
Okay, well, complementarity is a African principle. I say one of the principles of Ma'at. And we know Ma'at is the word to describe us as in our best character. Things operating as the way they're supposed to, things flowing the way they're supposed to flow, things progressing the way they're supposed to progress. And complementarity is one of those principles that works with that. When you're talking about complementarity, you're talking about, even if you weren't talking about people, you're talking about two things that come with different energies, different powers, different abilities, different talents coming together to create something that's better. And it's not a competition, it is a coming together to create something better, with both groups acknowledging, or both sides acknowledging. But here we're primarily talking about the relationship between our men and our women, especially when it comes to couples. So we're talking about, they say we talk about the work. So we want to talk about it as basic as possible. So we're talking about a man who brings certain talents to the table and a woman who brings certain talents to the table, coming together and creating a family, a complementary relationship, which will produce children, but a complementary relationship that is going to create something larger than them to benefit the community. Just like wisdom, anything else, if it's not work that is done for the community, then it's irrelevant. It's meaningless. It doesn't have any value, as far as I'm concerned. I believe as far as we're concerned. So we're talking about people coming together to build. If we could give a short version, people coming together to build. But of course, we know that building starts with couples. Complements, of course, we can say it starts with individuals, but two individuals coming together to to form a family, to form a complementary relationship, so they can extend themselves in time as positive, functional institutions or communities within an African future, within a system that works for us. So not to make it too long, but politics is at the heart of that. So if the politics have to be African centered, the politics have to be moving us toward a better place, to empowering us if the complementary couple is worth their weight in melanin. So we're talking about people coming together, and even people who are not necessarily together, at least having the vision and the desire to be together with someone that they can build with.
That's something. So you mean we're not going to be talking about Cupids and Valentines and teddy bears and chocolates?
No.
Absolutely not.
All right.
You know, pretty much the opposite of that in terms of the work, because when you're talking about those things where you're giving to that other person, and I know that we're not going into that discussion, but when you're giving to the other person, then it has to be something that comes from the heart. And most of those things, like you just mentioned, you know, they're not coming from the heart. They're coming from a store. They're coming from convenience. A relationship is supposed to be something that's worked on. It's supposed to be evidence. As you also say, you know, we're people of evidence. It needs to be seen. If it's not seen, then it doesn't exist. It's a joke. It's lame.
That's right. That's
so we're talking about serious relationships here.
Now, just say, so we're not saying that couples can't give gifts, but that's not the foundation. That's the romance.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't want anybody tuning us out. Oh, we just got to work 24/7. No, that's a part.
Right. That's right. Okay, that's a good
foundation.
That's a good qualification. Absolutely. Thank you for that, Mama Yaa. Now, what's striking to me, we have a comedian in our community by the name of Steve Harvey. He wrote a book, a relationship advice book. Now, this is a man who's been divorced about 20 times. I'm exaggerating, writing a book of relationship advice. Now, if our community is where we should be in consciousness, we would have ran that man out of town. Not hurt him, but say, man, get out of here with that, brother. You're not qualified to tell us nothing about that. You haven't succeeded at it. What's striking about this is that you both are almost kind of how do you say, living promotion of the conference. So you both have been together. I have to assume, having been in long-term relationship myself, that you've been through ups and downs and had some bickers and some fights and some disagreements, and forget you. My way or the highway, whatever it is. So we all go through it, but you're still here strong. And you're not only strong as individuals with your own lives, right, and your own sort of hobbies and interests, but you find a way to intersect them in a way that's meaningful for the community. Could you talk about how you live? Because it's clear that I think that you live out what you're teaching other people. Because one of the subtitles, the theme of the conference, if I'm correct, is something lessons learned.
Afrikan Love, lessons learned.
Right. So that's perfect. I'm curious to know, are the things that you're sharing in the conference, I'm presuming some of it comes from your lived experience.
Yes.
And those of others, right? Could you very briefly hit on that for us, so people understand you're not just talking some abstraction, that you're talking something that's real, that helped you, that will help others?
Well, actually, we are blessed that we have recently celebrated our 37th anniversary. So as you said, all those things you mentioned in 37 years, but we've learned, and the things that we've learned, and even your previous question, well, how did the Complementarity Conference start? We have benefited from the wisdom of elder couples. And we see the need for our couples in the community. So it's one thing, and it's a challenge in and of itself for us to form complementary unions in this society. But then after we form them, it can be even more difficult to maintain them. And we definitely have been heartbroken seeing couples in the community and, people who we looked at as they did it the right way. They were African centered when they met. They knew the importance of marriage and children and, started on the right path. We expected those would be the marriages that would last. But even those marriages, it is not that simple. So the conference is about encouraging and providing an opportunity for individuals to meet, to form these unions, but for those in these unions to be assisted. And, first and foremost, what was very helpful to me is to know that we're not the only ones having challenges, because it looks like, right, when you see, because we see people in the village and we're having village celebrations, everybody's smiling, they look so happy. So even after being married 37 years, I know our friends have challenges, even they've, been on panels at our conference and from personal conversations, but it still looks like, oh, it's probably easier. They may have some challenges, but they don't have the challenges we have. It's always looking, the grass looks greener, but it has been helpful. The many times we coach people just to say when they're, they're thinking nobody is dealing with their, and we're like, we're just smiling. Yeah. Yeah. And thankfully we haven't dealt with all of the challenges. We give thanks, and nobody will deal with all of the challenges that can occur in a marriage, but we've many of the general ones, most couples will deal with, and that alone kind of puts them at ease, because they think, say, if it's a woman, she thinks the issue is with her particular husband, and come to find out, no, it's a man thing, and vice versa. It's not. If you're a man, the challenges you're having may not be an issue with your wife in particular. A lot of the challenges we have are based on the differences between men and women. And when you don't know that, then you're frustrated at your individual spouse not knowing these are challenges to be expected just because we're very different. And I learned that things that we've done, definitely for me, reading, and I listen to younger couples on podcasts, because you can still learn. We've had younger couples on panels, and I've learned, they just said one thing that was like so profound. It was like, yes. So we need support, as with anything that we do. And this conference is an opportunity, in this particular one, but every year we're sharing our experiences. We have a couple of other couples this year sharing their experiences, but, learning that what you're dealing with, that's what couples deal with. And the couples who stay together are those couples. I saw this meme, marriage is about two people having the patience to help each other heal. So you go in knowing that it's about a lot of patience, but also helping your spouse to heal. But we have to have patience with ourselves as well, that we need to heal. And as African people in particular, that's going to be general with marriage. But in particular, dealing with Ma'afa, we have the added stress on that makes it even more difficult for us to come together. And then when we come together, the additional stress and, the trauma that has been passed on, whether we actually experienced it in our immediate family, but if not, studies have shown it's literally passed down. They can see it in our genetic makeup. So we need all the support we can get. And this conference is one opportunity for couples and those who want to be in a complementary relationship to feel supported and to know the importance and the difficulties and the triumphs, but that it's all part of the nation building work.
Thank you so much for that, Mama Yaa and Mwalimu Baruti. I think one of the things, first of all, we have a lot of comments from the community. We got my queen is saying, "Wakusu to you, wake up, clean up, stand up." That's our call at Harlem Liberation School. Wishing you love and and Light Liberation, and we have.
How you doing?
I do not know this particular individual, but they give you the greetings.
Yeah, he's
Yes.
one of our across the pond England brothers.
All right. That's what's up. Getting international on them.
Yeah,
that's right. You got to. BJ Soto, I think, is agreeing with something that you said, Mama. I don't know exactly what, but he's showing, or she is showing support.
Okay.
And Miss Lonnie, I think Love Forever, is lamenting that she can't make it, and she's thanking us for sharing this. And she's saying that she's sharing this live, so we thank her for that.
Oh, great.
We thank her for that. Now,
Thanks.
this is Saturday, June 4th, and it's from 1 to 4 p.m.?
4 to 7 p.m. Eastern.
4 to 7 p.m. Eastern. And what can people expect to get from this? First of all, let me ask you this. Is it just for people who are formally married? They went to the church or the temple, they had a priest, they said it before God and community, I do, and rings? Or could it be for people in a long-term monogamous relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend sort of thing? How is that working?
Your turn. Yep, me.
Yeah.
It's for Baba, it's for everybody, because, and for some members of our community, we understand for whatever reason they don't want to legally get married, and that's fine. But even the things that you learn with complementarity have to do with people getting along, so they're going to help us even with our friend and family relationships, but definitely in our male-female relationships, we're not concerned about that status. And definitely it is for single people as well, people who are divorced. And I was even thinking, definitely, I hope sometimes couples are having challenges and the two of them may not agree to attend together. It would still be beneficial for someone who's married, whose spouse is not wanting to participate. Because, I think we will spend a lot of time learning about finances, health, spirituality, whatever is of interest to us. We should spend an equal amount of time on complementarity, because it is one of the most challenging things you will do. So everything that you can learn that can help you, we should be open to receiving.
And one of the things that we are going to be doing after the presentations are made and after the Q&A time is done, we're going to leave. In fact, we set it up so that the Zoom is going to be open for, I believe, 3, maybe 4 hours after that, so that folks who are there, they see somebody who they might be interested in talking to, they hear somebody they might be interested in talking to, get to know each other. So even though the conference will be technically over, we're going to leave the site open, so anybody there who wants to talk to anybody there is free to do that in that space.
Okay, now
we can not brag about it, but there have been a number of marriages that came out of the Complementarity Conference with people meeting there or in there. So there are a lot of good things have come out of that as well.
And I will say, too, that, and definitely I've seen this lately, 3 or 4 sisters. Now, they may not have married someone who was at the conference, but their attendance of the conference was letting the universe and the ancestors know, this is something I want. I'm willing to invest time and energy. So I saw it as, definitely see it as, this was one of the things that they were doing that opened the way to complementarity versus, the people who are, I don't need a man, or I don't need a wife, I'm enjoying it. But it's definitely, we can say a number of people over the years have ended up getting married. And that's not, it's not the easiest thing that happens these days. It's not like it was pretty easy, right? You married your high school sweetheart, whatever. It's a whole different world. So I think it has been helpful to people over the years.
So in other words, what you're kind of insinuating is that this conference is the real African matchmaking situation, not on some online thing and all that we got our own homegrown mechanism. And I think that's beautiful because I noticed that people who are serious nation builders, if they want engineers, they have incubating projects where they get all the engineers around the country. They want to go to space or Mars, they get all those people together and they start preparing. They push that idea. And we tend to think sometimes that just thinking about something or having the idea is going to make it happen. And we forget the work. All that underground work that nobody sees is what makes it happen. And this is definitely part of what we talk about. Oh, we need more good men. We need more good sisters. Where's all the good sisters? They're right there. But if we have the wrong rubric, right, or metric for measuring what a good sister is, we might be surrounded by them and look right past them. So what you're doing is very, very important. Now, so one of the benefits is, brothers, sisters, if you come to this conference, if you participate, you might well meet your wife or husband to be, as it were, or your long-term mate or life partner. What would be some other benefits that you have seen throughout the years from this conference that people would get?
Well, it's one thing I was thinking about as you said that, because the conference is just a part of the process of being African. It's just an event during 365 days. But I tell folks all the time, if you're people should be, and not to use a biblical term, but equally yoked. But I'm talking about politically. So, Negroes marry Negroes and warriors should be marrying warriors. But you can't know that in this reality. There's so much confusion that there are people who are looking for people who are powerful. And then, as soon as they get their claws on them, they try to turn them into something else. So I always say, if you're doing your work, you're looking for somebody, you seriously want, and you bringing commitment to the table, then do your work. Because if you're doing your work, then the person you're looking for ought to be doing the same work, ought to be doing the same kind of work as you are, which means that both of you have the same politics. So you'll be able to find your complement in that way just by doing the work. And of course, this, even though we hope that it's fun and people enjoy it and all the rest of that, this is still work. This is community work, bringing people together. And that's one of the advantages I would argue in terms of our conference is that folks who are not serious about this don't show up. They tend not to come. So we get a collection of people because most of them hear about or aware of us. They don't want to be anywhere near this if they're playing around. So those who show up tend to be those who are serious about doing the work of nation building or community building in our community anyway. So for me, that's one of the best things, because that's the biggest complaint I've heard. Either I can't find someone, who thinks like a warrior, or, there's no place to be where there are a lot of people who are trying to do the work.
And another benefit, Baba, is it's inspiring. I know Brother Baruti has made collages of Black couples, and prior to, he's been daily posting pictures. I get inspired. I've seen, so these are pictures for the most part he has previously posted, and for previous conferences. But every time I see it, and I'm inspired, as I say, married 37 years, when I see podcasts where I see people are seriously talking about Black love and the challenges and the joys. We need inspiration. It's hard work. Nation building work is hard. And we are surrounded by the images that discourage us about long-lasting love, the possibility of complementarity and long-lasting love. So it's inspiring. And that's, for whatever stage in a relationship you're in, whether wanting or you're in there new, midway, long-term, we all still need the inspiration.
Yes, we do. We all need inspiration. That is a fact.
It is beautiful.
Now, I wanted to know how, if people have the question, hey, we listened to the show, we're feeling it, how can I register? Because family, make no mistake, I am not one of these, I'm not a formal media person. I have a friend who's an anchor woman in New York. I'm not her. I'm very biased. I'm very clear. The goal of this family watching, it's not just entertain you. Oh, we learned about. No, the goal of this is to get you to take out your plastic little card and to register for this conference, to make a proactive step on behalf of yourself and building a nation. Just talking and having ideas will not do this.
Right.
White people are not better than us.
Right.
And my question I ask myself every day, is, aren't you tired of losing to people who are not better than you? They're not smarter than us.
Absolutely.
So this is a blow against white supremacy.
Mm-hmm.
Even though you may think it's just, oh, we're just gonna get hitched up, family. You're rebelling against a system that's teaching us to hate each other and to argue and fight and fuss and never see beauty in it and value in each other. And if you don't do that, we can't organize together, right? So if somebody says, how can they register? How would you answer that? Where do they go or what do they do?
It's very simple, Baba. They should either, so registration will be the donation required. If you are single, that's a $20 donation. If you are a couple, it's a $35 donation. And also it is open to mature teens. And I think that's a different story. We're not teaching our children about complementarity. So they become parents or involved in relationships with no clue. Sorry. Oh, okay. But so that donation should be paid either through PayPal, and the PayPal address it should be sent to is my name, Yaa Baruti, all lowercase, YAA, B as in boy, ARUTI at yahoo.com. Now, we do need you to put in the notes section your name and the email address, because we send the Zoom link via email. And sometimes people forget to give us the email address. We need that email address in order to send you the link. And also we need you to make a note that it's for the Complementarity Conference. And you can use abbreviations, but we need your email address in its entirety. We need that email address. The other option is we have a Cash App account. It's my name also, but it is different. Okay, it is $Yaa, which is YAA, but it has my middle initial M as in man, Baruti, BARUTI. So $YAA, B as in black. Oh, Mudasi, I'm sorry. I forgot the M myself. $YAA, M as in man, BARUTI, $Yaa M Baruti. And again, now Cash App doesn't give you as much space, but abbreviate the information. Some people will just send the full information in a separate email, but you can put conf, C-O-N-F. So rather than spell out Complementarity Conference, you can give me your first name, but I need the full email address in order to send the Zoom link.
Okay, for those of you watching and listening that didn't got to hear the tail end of that, I'm trying to put the information up. My phone is acting up. So what I will do is I will probably do a graphic and I'll put that information on as a follow-up to the show, or you can watch the recorded version and you'll hear it again. Okay, but just to make sure nobody misses that information, I will make sure that I post it separately from the show, probably in a graphic, or maybe I'll put a post. All right. Those of you watching that just came on, this is Harlem Liberation School. We are meeting with the powerful power couple in an African-centered sense, not power in the way they exert it on other people, but power in the way they help the community, that they bring harvest to the community. And we're talking about their 8th annual Complementarity Conference. All right. So we hope that you're listening and paying attention, taking your notes. They have already told us that it's the 8th annual conference, that it is designed for couples in long-term relationship, It's designed for people who are married. Um, and I'm having a little technical difficulty. Bear with me, family.
And while Baba is doing that, if you all can hear me, we have the information on our Facebook pages too. And that's in Mwalimu Baruti or Yaa Baruti. We're posting it daily on each of our pages, the registration information. And also do check out our pages because Baba has done a number of collages of Black couples, and they're really inspiring.
Okay, I'm sorry. I blanked out for a minute.
Oh, not a problem. I took advantage of the time to encourage people to check out our Facebook pages for the information as well.
Excellent, excellent. And I see that BJ Soto, thank you. That's why we need a village. They saw that my technology was acting up. They said, we're not going to wait for this technology. And they posted the Cash App. And just
give
again,
give thanks.
So to repeat, if you're a single person and you're like, hey, them Barutis may help me find somebody, I'm going to come to the conference. Come on through. That's $20 donation for you. If you're in a couple, you pay $35. And I believe you mentioned that they were mature teens. What was the
I think it's $10.
$10. Okay, that's fair enough. And by the teens, you mean like 17, 18, or?
If 15, 16, if they're mature, if they're thinking about relationships. Yeah. So we let parents.
I like that.
Because there's nothing, we've never had a conference where there was anything profane.
Right.
Right. No.
And, you know, here at Akoben Institute, we have 5th graders, 6th graders, 7th graders, sometimes a 4th grader. And I'll talk about, you know, the requirements and what they should be looking for and how they should be developing and preparing themselves and what marriage is about. So we say mature, and that to me, that means depending upon the parent or guardian's judgment.
Nice. I like that. Yeah. That inclusivity is important. So many times we talk about the village and we leave out the kids because, this isn't for them. Like, they'll never get mature if we don't put them in places to mature.
Absolutely.
So I like that.
Absolutely.
I like that.
Yeah. Marriage and building families. That's one of we talk about nation building. The foundation of a nation is families. The foundation of a family is a man and a woman coming together, making a family. So we send our children to school for at least 13 years, K through 12, in many cases, 2-4 more years of college and beyond. But how much time do we spend teaching them about the most important? Because, you know, even before high school diplomas, college degrees, we were marrying and producing families. So that's that's something major that we're overlooking. And I'm happy that we incorporated into our curriculum. It comes up regularly during the school year, and it's important.
Now, when you first started it to now, when your eighth annual sort of manifestation of it, what have been some of the changes you've seen as it has evolved and gotten better? What have you seen? What do you see now that's different and better from when you started it?
I don't know if I see anything that is different in the sense that we have always attempted to have other couples. We have, and it's varied. I guess that's what I should say. It is varied. So we've had complementary conferences where we had a range of couples from, couples have been married 40, 50 years to couples that just been married. And then we've had complementary conferences where there was simply a set of elder couples and, sort of like sitting at the feet of the elders and let them tell you, what went right and what went wrong. The topics, of course, have varied, I would say enormously, but they always centered on solving problems having to do with relationships, how to deal with issues within relationships, how to come in terms of being prepared for a relationship, coming with commitment versus coming to play. So it has varied, but it's varied in ways that are very much incomparable. They're not comparable in terms of the differences. And in fact, the audience as well. You know, there have been times where there were a large selection of young folk who were at the conferences, and you know, sometimes just people who had been married for a while. I know that for us, one of the things I think I can speak for us. One of the things I like to see is people who have been with us all this time. You know, of course, you always want to see new folks, new faces, new possibilities. But for folks who have been with us, and we've seen for the last 8 Complementarity conferences, and we even saw before that, you know, who are still working on, because we do couples coaching as well. And most of the people we do that with, they're involved in the Complementarity conference. So it's sort of like a celebration. For some of them, it's a celebration of, okay, another year we've managed this for another year. We're moving forward. For me, it's always good to listen to the lessons of people who have been married 10, 15, 20 years, 30 years longer than we have. And they're saying things, you know, they're dealing with things or dealt with things that we're dealing with. And it's like, oh, that's how that works. That's how that, you know, okay, we can make it through that, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't know, as time goes on, what you know, Bob, as time goes on, you know, the older that wine, the older the berry, the better it has just become better for us, become easier for us. It's become more gratifying for us because of the people who are walking in this direction.
Absolutely. I like the fact that you talked about that you all, even though you are to some degree great resources in this area yourselves, still learn from younger couples and even older couples.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes.
That's important. I remember there was a period of time where I interviewed maybe 4 or 5 older couples, people that have been together 40 years or more, Black couples or African couples. And each one of these couples had some major issue. In one case, it may have been gambling addiction. One case, it was infidelity. One case was even domestic violence or alcoholism. And they all told the story. They all, in different ways, they said, you young folk, you're soft. Y'all are soft. Y'all get an argument and y'all breaking up. Somebody's late with the rent, y'all breaking up. And these people went through some really, I couldn't believe it. Like, and they're still together. It's amazing. So I think it's a testimony to, even though we get these newfangled things and ideas and experts and books and this and that, some of those old-fashioned ways are so foundational. You know, it's very interesting. Now, Baba Baruti, I know you've written a book called Complementarity. Is that correct? Could you tell us about that?
Yes, and Complementarity, and a follow-up book on Complementarity Note called Complementarity Notes. So I look at complementarity as somewhat like the theory, Complementarity Notes somewhat like the application of it. But complementarity came about because I saw quite a bit of confusion in terms of how we're supposed to move through the process of meeting through children in our tradition. So it essentially talks about, well, really, how are you supposed to meet? What you supposed to be doing? How do you come together? It starts out with an understanding, because it's for warriors, it's for African-centered people. It starts out with the understanding that Europeans are very afraid of us. So you have to imagine the fear that they have with us individually, and what they do against us individually. You can imagine how that is intensified when we come together as a complementarity couple, and the stress that you're going to be under relative to that. And then when you decide as a couple to have children that you're going to rear into the tradition of being African, of being warriors, the threat that is perceived of by the powers that be that want to dominate and continue to oppress and all the rest of that bad stuff. So complementarity, I wrote it as sort of a guide as to how we're supposed to proceed, but mainly how we need to think about this as Africans, because I'm not telling anyone how to do what they do. It is simply And it's not a, how to go to the club and find whoever, what have you. It's about how to do this seriously, how to find a compliment, how to be somebody who's worthy of another compliment, how to proceed with the process of getting to know each other. What is the process of marriage and what follows what, and in order. And that may be, for a lot of people, the most important aspect of it, where there's a sequence to this. And the West has knocked us out of so many sequences. It's not funny. We don't know the order that things occur in. Everything is rush, rush, rush. And those of us who have been at this for a while know that, as the answer said, love doesn't come until, time has passed. Climbing that mountain is when you really discover it. And there's a reason for that. And I've been questioned on that a lot of occasions. Well, can't you fall in love at first sight? And I'm like, well, okay, we need to talk about trials, tribulations, all the rest as it go through, where you really discover the power of the person who you're with, which you don't know when you first meet them. You just, infatuated, which is, I argue, it can be a good thing, because that's what keeps a lot of people in a place where they can't get to know somebody. But I wrote Complementarity Notes because I came across a number of individuals who, they either want to stay together or what have you, but they didn't have concrete plans or ideas on how to make that work. And really it started with a conversation with Baba Hannibal Afrique, who's now one of our warrior ancestors. Mm-hmm. And Baba was talking about he and his wife were in conflict. And he was upset with her because he felt that she wasn't putting in enough of the, time, doing the community work. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, nobody can put in the kind of time Baba Hannibal can. So, but of course, she went and she talked to the elders, and the elders said, come and talk to us. And they finally got Baba Hannibal to come and talk to the elders. And the elders simply concluded, you all need to go find a room. So Baba Hannibal finally agreed. And they packed their stuff and they went to this room. And they went up to the room, and she's putting stuff in the closet, and she hears him, open up his suitcase and stuff. And she turns around, he's pulling out computer, paperwork, folders, all the rest of this. And she said, "Oh no, we're not doing that. Not this time." And he said that was the best day that he had ever experienced with her. He said, we talked about stuff. So I'm sitting there thinking, we don't have just basic, inexpensive, strong ways of building these relationships, of showing in Khan you say kro. We don't have a way of that quote unquote romantic love to each other, that in an African way, that builds. So I wrote Complementarity Notes to supplement, if you will, complementarity in terms of guidelines as to how to treat each other. Needing to have time together and off and away from everybody and everything, so you can, what's that? I forget who made that song. Whatever you did to get her, you had to do to keep her. Same thing took,
your baby hooked.
Yeah, and we forget that quick. We forget that quick. So this is a reminder, but it's a reminder in African terms. I would say a very quick example in there are from things that are made. This brother who he is a DJ, and he pretty much broke. So what he did was he put together a CD. It's that old, a CD of songs that he knew that she loved, that were love songs, and he gave that to her as a gift, for no reason. But what that does, this was something he had to think about, something that came from his hands, that he gave to her, and it meant the world to her, that idea. And that's the cement. Things like that are the cement of complementarity, even though it isn't all things. But these are things that are cement of complementarity that when we're infatuated, we tend to remember. But as time goes on, we tend to forget. So that's what this book is about, helping us to find ways to make each other happier with each other.
And
that is beautiful.
I'm sorry, Bob. Quickly show where am I showing? Okay. So this is the Complementarity book.
Complementarity. Y'all got to cop that. What's the price on that, Baba?
$18.95.
$18.95. Some of y'all will pay, get a bottle of liquor or and we keeping it real on this show. You know how I know our people. We'll get a bottle of liquor, go to the movies for that price. This is the gift that keeps giving. Knowledge keeps giving. You're gonna probably go through that book 100 different times, get something new every time.
So, and I would like to say, I'm just floored. We still hear people tell us, couples who read the book together. People love this book, and I had to go back and reread it because I'm like, okay, yeah, it was a good book, but people love it. But also, then it's where are we? Complementarity notes.
And that's the follow-up. You said that's like the action sort of.
Yeah.
And this is commentary notes is 15.
Yeah. All right. Crystal Denise.
Recommend these. But I also want to quickly recommend two very other important books, How to Love a Black Man and How to Love a Black Woman. They are both by Ron Elmore, and that's Ron with 2 N's. Elmore, Elmore. He is a Black marriage counselor. And I think when he first wrote the books, he had been married over 20 years and had been counseling Black couples over 20 years. Excellent book. So when I read the books for the first time, we had been married at least close to, if not 30 years, somewhere around there. And I learned a lot. So thankfully, some of it I knew from, 30 years of marriage. But I learned from those books. And I think every Black person, so the teenagers need to read it. If we're concerned, here's somebody, because the same issues, and part of what I was saying before, a lot of our challenges are the difference between men and women. And those books point that out. And I do say we both recommend that women read both and men read both of the books. So when a woman reading the book about how to love a Black man, yes, okay, so that's going to help you better understand your man. But at the same time, you can also get insight when you read How to Love a Black Woman. There are things that may not be perfectly honest to you, some traits that we as women have that impact men. And so the same thing, men, of course, maybe want to first read How to Love a Black Woman for insight into women, but they can also get insight into Black men. And I'm really thrilled to be able to say, because I read them first, and Baba's not necessarily, I'm going to be more into relationships books, but he signs off too. He agrees that they're good books.
Yes, very much so.
Well, I'm going to tell you, Crystal Denise said that Complementarity is one of her favorite books, and she reads it at least once a year.
Oh, wow.
Good, thanks.
People
love it.
Yes.
And then the Queen Bee says that it's some of the best money you will spend.
Oh, wow.
Because I think she purchased a copy when we went to Mississippi for the conference. Black Liberation.
Yes. I remember her getting it.
Oh, see that? That's right.
I believe she got 3 other books or whatever at the same time.
Yeah, she got a few. She got one on education, complementarity, and I know there was at least another one. Yeah. Excellent. We got people percolating. I think on
Mama,
on
I
YouTube.
did see Mama had a question about toxic relationships.
Yes. Thank you. I had it on. I took it off. Here we go.
So I want to say, it depends on what we mean by toxic. So difficult and challenging. Okay, you two work it out. But even relationships generally, I would recommend coaching, counseling, especially, but I think you benefit from it. But a toxic relationship, definitely I'm going to recommend counseling. And blacktherapy.com is a group is a directory of Black therapists who have a level of consciousness. So because we know definitely when you seeking a therapist, whether just as an individual, whenever as an African person, you benefit most by going to someone who knows about African people. So that would be definitely, because that's my advice, because if it's toxic, something has to give. But even in, I would say our marriage has been very challenging. It has not been toxic, but we've had major challenges, and thankfully we survived without formal counseling. But I will say, it's been over 10 years. I've benefited from a sister mama in the community, my good friend, who she and I have similar personalities. Her husband is now an ancestor, but he and Bob are the same sign, similar personalities. So I get, when we have good friends, we get counseling. We just, they're not wearing a counseling cap or charging a fee, right. But, talking. So definitely, I think people talking to experienced couples and long-term relationships who love you both will be helpful. But, depending on that definition of toxic sounds, that just that word, we might need professionals involved. But even if it's not something that a professional is required, like we're not professional therapists at all, but we, based on our years of marriage and our experience, we're willing to and have coached a number of people over the years. But I also benefit from the informal counseling, coaching of my good friend who had been married. They were married over 30 some years when the Baba transitioned.
I want to repeat that, blacktherapy.com. That's phenomenal that someone had the foresight to put something like that together. You want the psychiatrist, the psychologist, the therapist, but not the one that's coming with the European stuff, man. We don't want it no more, So that's a beautiful thing. Now, as we approach an hour, I want to make sure that everyone here remembers why we're here. The Barutis are busy. When I spoke to Baba, he was talking about people fixing stuff up in the house, and he's fixing stuff up in the house. They don't have a lot of time to be playing around, fooling around, family. Please get your questions out, and please register for this conference, the 8th Annual Complementarity Conference. And I just want to repeat for those who are auditory, it's on June 4th, 2022, which is Saturday, from 4 to 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And there are different prices. If you're single, it's $20. If you're a couple, it's $35. Mature teens, I believe $10, we said. And you will send your donations, I believe, to Mama Yaa's, I believe, email, which I'm going to put on the screen. That's one way to do this, through the email, and I believe there's also a Cash App.
Yes,
that we would.
And Baba, could you add the word PayPal?
Okay, to where it says pay donations.
Baruti at Yahoo.
Okay. I'm having difficulty changing it. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to come back to it. Like this keeps it's kind of logging me off.
Like this on do. I can't give you anymore with this. It's all showing me. There it is.
No, I'm saying. Oh. I can see what he's talking.
All right. I think the Queen is giving you thanks and salutations for being the tree that feeds the village. And she says, we love you. And
we love you too. And we appreciate the work that you do, Baba, because you're getting the information out to the people as well. It's all nation building work. We're all working together as a village.
That's right. Are there any questions, family? Please do not let this time go by and you hit me up on email talking about, could you ask them this? Could you ask them that? I'm one that believes in being self-motivated. Self-motivated means you don't send ambassadors to do the work that you should be doing. All right. So this is the time. This is the time right now to ask. They're busy. They got other things to do. They have to prepare for this conference on Saturday. We're 3 days away. And by the way, I just know that some of the Africans on this thread I just know, because I believe in you, that you actually registered while we were talking. I just know somebody did that. I really hope so. And I hope that if you're like one sister says she can't make it, that's okay, sister. Send it to somebody else. Send the information, maybe they can make it. Invite 5 people. Invite 10 people. It's just a click of a button. Get the word out. Make this a buzz. You know, like when Kanye and Kim Kardashian broke up, make it a buzz, family, about something that's going to benefit us for a change. That's all we're saying here. That's all we're saying. All right. Do you have any parting words? I want to ask the Barutis, anything that you want to say that you didn't get to say that's important for you to say?
Well,
I know. I just want to see folks there. We need to see this work. You know, and I'm not just talking about the conference. I'm talking about what we're trying to build as a people. This is only one of the classes or events or what have you that is going to assist us in that process. We have to look at the goal. The goal is to build an African nation. The goal is African sovereignty, and we can't do that without solid complementary couples who produce solid families, who produce a solid community. So, you know, this is designed to assist us in that process, to assist us move in that direction. And, you know, we look forward to the community, to the family being there.
And my final 2 things I want to say: the books are available through our Baruti's books are available through our website, www.akobenhouse.com, and Akoben, AKOB as in black, EN, the word house. It's Akobenhouse, no spaces.com. But my final reminder, nation, you know, oftentimes we focus on, we're doing the nation building work, whether that's teaching, building businesses. The foundation of a nation is the family. There is no nation or no healthy or strong nation unless we have healthy and strong families. And we don't have healthy and strong families without healthy and strong complementarity relationships. So all the nation, everybody's doing nation building work, but nobody is building family, what is the nation building work for? It's for there is no nation.
That's
so
right.
This is the foundation. This is foundational work.
That's right. Foundational work. That's right. Just like, and you guys continue the tradition. You started with the Akoben Institute. That's laying the foundation. And then you're building on that foundation with we're going to now talk about building family by getting these men and women together. And if I may say, at the risk of being controversial in this particular day and time, and at the risk of making some people don't like me as a result of what I'm going to say, it's refreshing to see people who are unafraid to say, in our opinion, this is what an African family looks like, how it's composed, a man and a woman. I can relate to that. I'm not hating on anybody for their choices, but I can relate to that. And I think that just as people have a right to exist in their identities, we have the right to say, well, this is our identity.
Yes.
This is what we embrace. And I think it's important that we do that more. You know, people complain about this community, and all we really need to do is say, well, this is what we are. This is what we represent. You know, so I appreciate that. As a matter of fact, what I would like to do is I have to talk to the Queen Bee sitting next to me to see if we're available. She wants to show her pretty face. She's right here.
It's Mama Brenda.
How you doing?
And it is indeed a pretty face.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So I was going to say either we will be there, and if we can't be there, then I'll send a donation so that somebody who wants to be there that can't afford it can be there.
Oh,
for a couple. For a couple.
Absolutely.
Okay, so either we'll be there or we'll give a donation.
And we hope that it's you too.
Yes.
All right. You heard that? He said, "Hopes it's us." All right. Listen, we want to thank you both for the work you do. For over 20 years you had Akoben Institute, is that right?
No, 20. We just finished our 23rd year.
Wow, look at that. Some people watching this may not even be 23 years old. That's amazing. And the work you're doing, Baba Baruti, I understand you have 28 books.
Yes, you're getting there.
Wow. Definitely, definitely. Writing books is not easy, family. Concentration, focus, yes, yes. And Mama Baruti, I see you on YouTube, just like Baba. Baba's doing his lessons. I see you with the lessons and teaching the sisters, and this is beautiful. It's a beautiful, and the brothers. It's a beautiful thing how you work together as a couple. And I think you're modeling much of what you're going to probably be sharing at the conference, and we thank you for that, definitely. Those of you watching, please give salutes and thanks for those in our community who stand up and are willing to speak out on our behalf and to build institutions, because this conference is an institution. It's not fly by night. It's here 8 years. Akoben Institute, institution. Very important. So we
Baba,
thank
can
you.
I say? I'm sorry.
Please, yes.
I want to say something quickly. These institutions are a result of us getting married and having our daughter. It was our daughter finding a school for our daughter that introduced us to African-centered education, which later down, and it was our daughter needing an African-centered high school that led us to starting Akoben Institute 23 years ago. So all of our nation building work is based upon our marriage and our daughter, because it was specifically us finding the African way was through our daughter. We were pro-Black and loved our people, but we didn't have the concept of being African and studying traditional African culture. That's from marriage and family.
Thank you for that, Mama Yaa. And as we close out, I want to say this, family. You know, I know our people. I've studied our people all my life, just as they have. I know you so well. I know what you watch on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday on TV. I know the cable shows you like. I know the sports you're into. Listen, family, we have to change our priorities. Just take the money we're going to spend on cigarettes this next weekend, the money you're going to spend on liquor, the money you're going to spend tricking out your car, and think about, are those things going to free you? Are those things going to make protect your daughters and your sons as they enter this world that's so duplicitous and confusing, right? And put it into something you know is going to help you, created by people you know you can trust, and you can stand on it, right? The Complementarity Conference, 8th annual, Saturday, June 4th, 4 to 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We've given you all information you need. And family, no excuses. If you can't make it, but you got the money, pay for somebody else to go. No excuses. No shortcuts, no excuses. Military style, family. We're not doing this talk a bunch of yap and no follow through. You got the money? Oh, I can't make it. Great. Send the money to the Barutis and just ask them, could you please donate this to somebody who can't afford it that you know wants to come? But no excuses, family. Okay? And with that, we want to say thank you, Sante Sana, to the Barutis. Thank you for all you do. We will see you there. And if by some act of God we can't make it, we're going to send a couple there. That's a fact.
Give thanks.
Thank you all so much.
BB for Hodie, African Liberation and Sovereignty.
That's right. Free the land by any means necessary. All right,
by
family.
Any means necessary. BB for Hodie.
All right. And family, there you have it. Really beautiful show. Look at this background, family. I didn't think it was going to work. The Queen insisted, no, you got to have the trees in the back. You can't have the house sighting. It looks crazy. I said, nah, baby, the house sighting is better. She said, no, the trees. I went with the trees. Look how beautiful it is. Looks like a virtual background, but it's real. Family, thank you for joining. Please, 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 if you can't make it, pay for somebody to make it. Spread the word. If you can't pay for anybody to make it, share this with 10 African people you know, African or new African, so that they can make it. When, as a community organizer and institution builder myself, I know how good it feels to know that you have worked hard, stayed up late, got up early, went to bed late to do something for the community, and people come out. We don't ask for much, but to see that people come out and appreciate your work is a beautiful thing. It keeps you, it's like fuel, and it keeps you going. And then on the other hand, you do all this work and nobody comes out. It can be a little demoralizing. So let's please support. With that said, family, I am going to try to find the exit button to this. I can't find the exit button. I'm using my phone. I've never done this before, but I want to thank you all for coming. And thank you all for coming and have a blessed day. I don't know if you can still see me or hear me. Can you see me or hear me? Okay. But have a blessed day, family. Peace.